Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Welcome to the A24 project here on the Nerd Party Network, where me and Dallas King go through the filmography of A24 and now their TV output and bring you interviews with the talent involved along the way. So to celebrate the Christmas season, we've compiled our 8th grade interviews into a bumper Christmas Day clip show. First up, Dallas speaks with 8th grade writer-director Bo Burnham on the red carpet of the Scottish premiere all the way back in 2018. Following that, we're joined by actress Catherine Oliviere to discuss her performance as Kennedy, the nemesis of Elsie Fisher's Kayla. Following that, we have actress Imani Lewis to discuss her performance as Aniyah, the passionate best friend of Kayla's high school chaperone Olivia, who Kayla encounters at the mall. And finally, we have Jake Ryan, who played the unforgettable Gabe. Hope you enjoy this clip show, and thanks again to all these amazing guests who have joined us over the past few years, and to you, our listeners, that have been with us every step of this podcasting journey. It really means a lot. I hope you stay safe and have a fantastic Christmas or holiday.
Hi, tell us, A24 project.
Hey.
How does it feel to have the film sort of come to international audiences and have sort of different age ranges and generations accept the film and embrace the film? Because, you know, the technology, they may not be so familiar with it, but it's the struggles and experiences seem to be quite universal.
Yeah, it's great. You know, I mean, all we want is for people to connect with the film and see the film. So the fact that we're here with, you know, the little weird film we made, you know, a year and a half ago in upstate New York with a bunch of 8th graders is incredible. So, yeah, we just hope people can continue to connect with it. It's just like it's just a privilege. It's sort of surreal.
Yeah, and in your stand-up, which is sort of related to this, you mentioned about always the need to perform on social media. How do they think this film will help people sort of learn that they need to sort of balance the online and offline sides of their personality?
Yeah, you know, the film really isn't trying to instruct people on what to do or how to feel. Like, hopefully, you know, things like that, you know, it can hopefully inspire a conversation to have about that, but I didn't want the film to sort of finger wag or tell you what to do, or I think there's a little too much commentary on the internet and not enough just portrayal of how it feels. So the film really is just trying to sort of portray the subjective experience of what it means for this person to be online. And then if you want to draw your own conclusions based on that, that's great. But, you know, the film, I don't want the film to have that conversation for you.
Absolutely. And finally, you've said that you'd like to work with Elsie again. Could we potentially see a Before Sunrise style trilogy where we revisit her in 12th grade or college,
maybe.
sophomore year?
The truth is, she's like a kid, and I want to let her live her life. You know, I don't want to immediately have her thinking about the next film she's in, and then. Or you get the Boyhood effect, where then the kid becomes a photographer because they were on set so much they've of course developed an interest in photography. You know what I mean? So I gotta let her live her life, and then in 4 years we'll check back in if we want to do something, we'll do it. But the kid deserves some space.
Great, thanks very much.
Take it easy.
So that was Bo Burnham there at Glasgow Film Festival. Thanks again to Bo for taking the time to talking to us.
When did you sort of get approached for 8th grade? When in sort of your career was this moment where it's like, oh, I might be in a feature film here?
I started doing more film stuff when I was around 11, and I first got an audition for Kayla actually when I was 12-ish, and then the next year when I was, that was when I was 13, and then when I was 14, I got a call for Kennedy, and I was like, oh, I know this film, that's cool. It came around, and it happened so fast. I had my first audition, and then a week later I met with Bo, and then 2 weeks later I met with Elsie and Bo, and then 2 weeks after that we started filming. So I was just so insanely happy, but it was just so fast, which was amazing, but it was, yeah.
That's crazy. I never knew you'd sort of gone for the role of Kayla. That seems like there's quite a gap between sort of the opportunity for Kayla and then obviously Kennedy coming along. What was the audition process like when you first got the Kayla role, for example? How did that sort of unfold?
That was just a self-tape. So I didn't really go anywhere. But when I had my audition for Kennedy, it was actually an in-person audition. So I didn't really hear much about the audition for Kayla. And then when it came back around, I was like excited because I was happy that I really liked the script. So I was like, oh, I'm glad that this is taking off.
What kind of, like, you were saying that you had to film there, for example, these sort of self-tapes. Was it sort of like, here's an element of the script, or was there a certain scene that they got you to kind of perform at home, really?
I think it was like her opening monologue where it was the one she's like doing her YouTube one. I think it was that. That was the audition. And I think I got the whole script too because I remember I loved it.
Was like a script like that something that was a surprise to kind of land on your kind of desk at the time?
Kind of. It was because like I think I was in 7th grade at the time, so it was like a more mature role for me. Like she was going in to 9th grade, so I was really excited to have this challenge of someone who was like not much like me because I am just like a very outgoing wild person sometimes, like, so I really liked the role because it was very different from me, and I love roles that are really different from me. So
Yeah, it certainly sounds like talking to you here, like, I'm talking to you here, and in the film Kennedy seems like it can be quite distant as well. It seems like a kind of million miles away from yourself.
yeah, I when I played Kennedy, it was like a totally different world for me, and I really try to stay off social media and my phone, period. I didn't get a phone until like January. I had a flip phone, but Kennedy was just a different world for me because I had my mom's phone, and just to get into character, I would listen to Ariana Grande, and I would use Snapchat on her phone and like just use the filters and just to really get that like plugged in social media feel of life that I had never had before, because it's so important to her character because she's all about her image on social media. And yeah.
When you sort of had that audition process that you met Bo Burnham and Elsie Fisher, what was that kind of experience like to be in sort of the audition room, and how did you sort of what was the dynamic within it?
It was like super chill, which I was like really nervous because I was like, oh my god, I'm meeting with this director, and he's like the nicest person ever. So I just walked in and he's like, hey, what's going on? Like I was nervous before, but then once I got in there, I was completely relaxed, and he was so fun to read with because you could just see how invested he was in the characters and the script, and he like put his heart and soul into it. So it was just so wonderful to work with him. And then when I met Elsie, like we instantly were like really good friends, and she's so funny and nice and such a talented actress. It was just such a pleasure to work with them, just even in the audition. And then when I found out that I got it, I was like, I can't believe I'm going to spend my summer with these incredible people.
That must have been an amazing phone call to get. Like it just blows my mind what that must have been like.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Did you sort of know much about Bo Burnham going in? Because one thing, when I sort of 8th grade was coming along and I started to learn about Bo Burnham as like a comedian and sort of his internet background, I've read comments from people like Elsie Fisher and a lot of others about kind of Bo Burnham's comedy really resonates with teenage women and young girls. Was that the same sort of for you, or did you sort of come to him kind of absolutely brand new?
I knew a little bit of him, but I have never really been like a YouTube person, like, so I wasn't super familiar with him, but I knew like a couple of his vines and stuff just from my friends. But then once I knew I was going to meet him, I started like watching his comedy and stuff, and I was like, this is like so relatable to Gen Z, and I loved it.
When you kind of got to your first day on set, what was that like? Sort of, here you are in this big movie. Did it feel like it was sort of the start of something special, or was it sort of just a normal day on set?
I was like completely blown away. It was my first time ever on a movie set, so I was freaking out. But I was like, okay, I need to stay calm, just need to do my thing. But yeah, it was incredible. Everyone was so nice, and there was this energy, like everyone could tell that this was something special, but like we had so much fun making it. We were like, is this really like gonna make out to be something? But like we all could kind of tell how important and how everyone needs this movie right now, that it was going to be huge, but we were like, we had so much fun. Like, is it actually going to be huge? Like, I couldn't believe that I was actually going to be in this movie.
Was there anything that caught you by surprise that, as you mentioned, you know, a lover of theatre and film, and that first day on set, was there anything you thought, oh my God, this isn't what I perhaps expected in a positive way, or was there anything that kind of caught you by surprise?
Well, just kind of like some of the terms that they would use, I wasn't as familiar with, but nothing really caught me by surprise. It was just like everything that I had dreamed it would be, which was so incredible. But yeah, some of the terms I was just like, what does that mean? So now like I know all the different terms and I'm way more comfortable with it.
I think one of the absolute highlights of the film is your birthday pool party. What was that like? How was that sort of film that constructed? Was that over like several days? And it just seemed like absolutely pandemonium, like on screen. What was it like to shoot that?
That was like a complete blast. That was the best part of my summer. It was filmed over a couple days, I think like 3 or 4 days. Yeah, 3 days. And it was just so much fun. We all just got to improv a lot, to just doing weird teenage fun things, and yeah, they just like played music and we would dance in the pool, and yeah, it was just so much fun.
You get to be the star really of that scene. For example, you're the birthday girl, etc. And we get to learn a lot more about sort of Kennedy in this scene as well. What was that like as an actress to kind of get stuck into and almost be the sort of center of attention like that for a big party?
It was a lot of pressure. Like I was nervous, but everyone was so kind to me, and all of the other girls who were at the pool party were so funny and nice. We all just were really good friends, and the girl Nora, who played my best friend, like we were best friends off and on set too. So everyone just made it such a great environment that I didn't have to be nervous. So I was so grateful for that.
Was it difficult getting roles like that? Because you can almost feel that moment of like you're opening all these presents and then you get this sort of go fish type game and it just sort of turns that little bit sour and awkward. Was that difficult for a role to kind of play, thinking like, oh, I'm really upsetting this kind of character here? Or was it like, yeah, this is the job?
Well, I was really nervous that everyone on set was going to think I was actually a mean person. So I was freaking out, but Elsie was so great because she was just like, yo, like, it's acting, you know, like, it's fine, we're cool. And I was just like, can I hug you? When I'm like, oh, can we get one with just the squad? And like she steps away, like that was really hard to film because I just felt so bad, because I like stuff like that has happened to me, so like I felt terrible doing it to someone else, even if it was acting. But you know, as actors, we were like, yeah, this is just what we gotta do. And part of it was kind of fun to play someone that's totally different from me. So yeah.
Sometimes they say it's always better to play the baddie than the kind of goodie. There's something more to kind of dig into with something like that. Yeah,
definitely. Like when I would get ready in the morning, I would just like get in the zone. I would be like I got out of the shower and I had like my hair and like a turban, and I was like this queen, like with Ariana Grande playing, and I was just really getting in the zone of Kennedy. And because she's so self-absorbed that I had to like get there every day. So that like that moment before filming just really got me there.
So that's something new for me. So Ariana Grande, was that sort of someone that you sort of looked to as sort of your potential inspiration for this young Kennedy character?
Oh yes, definitely. That was like, that's her favorite artist. She worships her, and that came a lot from people that I knew that I based Kennedy off of. And I just felt like yeah, like I don't listen to Ariana Grande usually myself. So I needed someone, like, music really got me in that zone. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Was there any you were saying there was some other kind of things you pulled from? Was that sort of people that you'd kind of met? You'd mentioned sort of that you've been that person that's been cut out of the photo, for example, or was it sort of other kind of musicians or talent that you sort of drew from to kind of bring Kennedy to life?
Um, yeah, and just like the style that she dressed in too is completely different from me. And my hair is actually like super curly, so they straighten my hair every day. Diana was my hairstylist. She was a good woman for spending an hour every day doing that. And so that just having this entirely different persona was real. It really got me into character, and it was really easy to get into character with my hair straight. And I wore like all the name brand shoes and these trendy clothes that I never would have worn before. So that really was what got me into character too.
I love the scene sort of later on that your clash with Kayla at kind of graduation day. How do you sort of kind of prepare for scenes like that where it's like it's almost like it's been building through this kind of whole film that Kayla's been trying to reach out to you, whether it's through DMs or little letters, that we've all probably been in that situation, and it kind of climaxes in that sort of put down of Kennedy in that graduation scene, and you have this excellent shell shocked impression look on your face during it. What was it like to shoot on that day? Was that kind of at the end of the film, or was it sort of somewhere in the middle?
That was in the middle. So we filmed all the stuff at the school. That was the first week of filming. So we filmed like the superlative the first day, and then later we filmed that scene. And then in August we filmed the pool party stuff. So it was pretty early on in the film. But we had done all of our other scenes at the school, so that kind of helped get into like the groove of what our relationship was. And yeah, I was really nervous that day of filming because I was like, my mom and I were driving to set. I was like, Mom, I'm just really worried. I think I'm gonna cry because I'm gonna feel so bad. And so I was really worried, but it was so powerful to watch her, because she just like does what everyone wishes they could do and could have done. And so I was just blown away by her performance that it just came naturally that I was just like so blown away. But yeah, I was really worried that I was going to cry.
What was it like when you that scene's kind of done? Was it like I can breathe now, or did the sort of the emotion get the kind of the better?
Yeah, it was kind of like I need a moment. Like we both would just like breathe, and it was we didn't even have to do it that many times because like just the raw emotion of it was so beautifully done. There wasn't much else to do, but yeah.
Have you ever kind of you touched on it? You're like, oh, people might think I'm kind of this terrible kind of Kennedy or something at times. Have you ever kind of had people kind of maybe scared to approach you or talk to you after maybe some screenings or etc., kind of thinking, I wonder if she is this kind of colder character, or I'm going to just be completely ignored by her if I go up and say hello?
Not really, because like I think it's the way that I dress that people aren't as intimidated, because like at the screenings and stuff, my hair was curly and like I was wearing more outfits that are my style, so I didn't look as much like Kennedy. So I think that left off the pressure more of talking to the mean girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and I wondered as well, like when I was kind of rewatching it the other day, that it's even more interesting now that I know that you're new to kind of phones, etc. In those sort of scenes where you are so engrossed in your phone, whether you're interacting with Kayla or other characters, what is actually going on the phones? Is it just like blank screens, or have you got like Spotify or some sort of online content on the go at the time? How do you how are you directed in sort of playing on those phones?
Bo just kind of let us like do what we felt our character would do. So I would go online on these like different like fashion websites or like look at different nail polish or whatever that I felt like Kennedy would use that she wanted to do for her graduation. So it was just like that kind of thing, and that was really helpful to get into character too. That way I was actually looking at something and being in that moment.
Yeah, and what was your eighth grade experience like? I think I always think of the tagline for the film "Eighth grade is hell." What was your experiences like of going through eighth grade, and did you know kind of Kennedys and Kaylas and all those other characters?
I absolutely knew all of the characters, and that's why I loved this film so much, because I was like, I know every single person that they're talking about in this film. And my experience was like, I don't know, I think it was like pretty much everyone else's, where it wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't like horrible. And I was homeschooled, so there wasn't as much drama for me to have to get wrapped up in, but you know, wherever you go there always is drama anyway. But I was fortunate enough to be surrounded by a lot of friends too. Like my best friend has stayed with me through thick and thin and everything. So I'm so grateful that I had her, because I was a lot like Kayla, but at least I had someone that I knew was always there for me. So I think that was what was really important to me. And I've always, like, it broke my heart that Kayla didn't have someone like that.
And do you think that's one of the things of the film, is that it maybe encourages people to reach out to those that we are maybe cutting from photograph scenes, or that person that seems the most quiet in the classroom?
Oh, absolutely.
And when did you sort of first see the film completed? What was the turnaround from finishing this film and going away to coming back and now watching this finished feature?
It was so amazing. I first saw it at the Boston Film Festival with my whole family, because my family is from Boston, so it was like my entire family was there. And you know, the first time that I saw it, it was more of like me judging myself and like what was different from the script and that kind of thing. I didn't like get the full picture at first, because I like just seeing my face on the screen. I was like, oh, why did they not make that facial expression? Like, why did I do that? Because it's just like so weird to see yourself up there, and like my parents and my grandparents are watching the film too, so like it was also awkward to like be next to them. But as I saw the film more and more, like the second time that I saw it, I was like, oh my god, like this is actually like amazing. Like everyone else like made it so incredible. Not that like I think that I did a bad job, but like that everyone did so amazing. And yeah, it's just like this piece of art, and I was like so grateful to be a part of that.
Have you kind of all the eighth graders from the film in Bow, have you kind of all kept in touch, or is it one of those ones, is it like sort of any professional job, you go your own way?
Yeah, we've all kept in touch pretty well. I mostly talk to Elsie and Nora. Like those are the people who I keep the most in touch with. But yeah, it was such a special experience that everyone seems like they really loved who their scenes were with, which is so special. So yeah.
It's been a year really now since the film came out, and it only actually came to the UK actually in March. It came out the same day as Avengers Endgame, and it was a film I was waiting forever for the film to come out in the UK. What's been the impact of that film for you, and sort of generally with the film?
It's been so amazing. Like I'm really just so grateful that I got to be a part of it, because everyone loved it so much, and I was so grateful that other people related to it and loved it as much as all of us loved it, because we all knew that it was special and important. But for like the world to see it and say, oh my god, this is exactly what we need, this is so important, and yeah, it was just so incredible.
What have been kind of the reaction of, say, friends, fellow eighth graders when we've seen when they've seen the film? That I know there's quite some great videos. There's one of Bo and Elsie in particular where they're watching eighth graders reacting to the film and trailers and scenes. What's been the feedback you've received from the film?
It's my friends are like they all really liked the movie. Like they like tease me about it once in a while. Like they'll be like, "Oh, Kennedy," like, but yeah, they all were like, "Catherine, this is like really good." Like when you said you were in a movie, we didn't like really believe you, but like now we're like buying tickets to go see your movie. So like, I guess you are in a movie. So that was really funny. But yeah, like other people who like don't know me as well see like they're not as afraid of me if they meet me in person because like I said I look totally different, but like on social media people have been like, "Oh, why are you so mean?" like stuff like that, and it's just funny. But yeah,
A24 films are filled with a lot of great female characters, well written, well acted, so many diverse range of characters as well. What's it like to be part of that filmography?
it's an honor, honestly, like to be in the same category with all of those women as a production company. Like that, it's so incredible. Like A24 is such an amazing production company because it like they tell the stories that are usually not the easiest ones, and that because they're reality and they're what people want to pretend doesn't happen. So for me to be a part of that is just really, really incredible.
Is it quite surreal at a young age that you're in this kind of filmography already, and people wear eighth grade T-shirts, like eighth grades become, you can get things like Etsy, etc. There might even be someone straightening their hair ahead of kind of Halloween to get the Kennedy look now. What's it like to sort of be in the middle of this whirlwind where something that you spent a summer doing has gone on to be so huge, and here we are even sort of talking about it a year later?
It's just so incredible, and I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of it. And just for people to like know that the movie even exists is just incredible. We're like, is it going to become anything? And the fact that it became as successful and that people loved it as much as we all loved it is just such a special gift that I'm just so happy to be a part of.
Was there a moment when you realized, oh my, this is a big thing? Was there ever a moment where it's like, this isn't just any film, one of hundreds that get released every year. This is one that's like become something. It's gained traction. People are talking about it. It's a thing.
Yeah, well, like when all the reviews came out and everyone was like talking about it and how much they loved it, I was like, oh my god, like it's real. And like I would see like it at the movie theaters and people would be going to it, and it's just incredible that I'm so lucky to have this experience.
When did you sort of first hear about eighth grade as a project?
So I first found out about eighth grade after I graduated from high school. I graduated in June, and I had auditioned for eighth grade, I think maybe August. So, right, I think originally it was entitled something else, but then I think originally it was called Coolest Girl in the World, and it was in 2017. And then when it came time for production, after production and starting to promote the movie, they settled on the idea of calling it eighth grade, and that's when I was super excited. The whole process and being a part of that project was phenomenal. Yeah, I enjoyed every minute of it.
What was the audition process like? Were you always going for the role of Aniyah?
So the audition process was actually very fun. I just went in there and just gave the character the personality that I saw fit. Bo definitely gave a lot of creative freedom when it came to the audition process, because we all had, I guess he had casted some people already, and we had done a group chemistry read, and everything just played out great. All the other actresses and actors are fantastic, so they made it kind of easy for me, in terms of the audition process, because they're all so talented.
What were those kind of group dynamics and auditions sort of like together, and how much kind of can you build up from them?
I think they're a great experience, and you definitely get to learn about other people's perspectives, and then you get to like I guess feed off of the other person's character, and it makes it easier for you to deliver your own. So I feel like because they were all so talented, it made it super. It made it way more fun, but a lot easier for me to be like confident in my character because of how well it worked with everyone else's characters. That's when I feel like Bo was like, yeah, this is it.
Were those kind of group sessions with the actors that played Trevor, Olivia, and Riley, or was it sort of like here's kind of everyone from eighth grade all kind of thrown in together?
Yeah, it was definitely like Olivia and Riley and all the other main cast members in the same room, and they had brought in and out other people, and then Bo would ask us how we felt about their performances, which was so hard because everybody that auditioned was so talented. But I think he definitely made the right choice with the people that he chose.
It's one of those things that feels so real on the screen that you feel like these are lived in characters. The way you just kind of overlap each other, talk about it, you really get that chemistry on screen that you certainly put the effort in before the camera started rolling.
Yeah, it was so funny to see how well we worked together as if we had known each other for years, or like we were going to school together already. Especially because everybody comes from all these different places. But when we sat and talked together, it just was super authentic and super easy to just chat with one another. It felt super natural.
Did you get much influence on your character once you were cast in terms of your dress? Maybe some of your lines thinking, yeah, I hear what you've seen on the script here, but this is what I think my character would say, or someone my age might say. Did you get much influence on those things?
Well, I did. Bo definitely gave us a lot of creative freedom in terms of how to express our characters. And when he first met us, I feel like he saw a bit of us, a bit of our characters in us, in a sense of our style or how outspoken we are, or like the awkwardness of some of us. I think he definitely played on that. But everything was very much scripted, but we did have a lot of room for like improv and like just giving our opinions on characters because Bo's not like a 14-year-old girl, so of course you understand the perspective of a 14-year-old girl better when you get to communicate that with a 14-year-old girl, or understand an 18-year-old high schooler and their perspective, being that you're so like, even if you're so far removed from being in like the 8th grade or like 12th grade.
I'd read that sort of you have this wonderful feminist necklace in your scenes, and that came around from, I think you had worn like a feminist T-shirt or something along those lines on the set, and then they were like, oh, we need to get some sort of it really inspired them. Is that true, or is that just some sort of internet kind of gossip?
Yeah, no, that is true. I had came to set in this hoodie that said feminist across it, and they just loved it. They loved it. So when they got to wardrobe, they had found this feminist chain. And they were like, oh, no, you have to wear this chain. Like, you have to wear this chain for sure. So I definitely just came in with the sweatshirt. And then when we found the chain, it was like a match made in heaven. Yeah.
What was your kind of first day like on set? Our first introduction to you in the film is at the school day trip. And clearly, like, the character of Kayla is in awe of you and sort of Olivia. What was your first day on set like? Was it the sort of school trip, or was that sort of kind of shot out of order?
Yeah, my first day on set was definitely when we were in the food court, having that conversation in the middle of the food court. The first day was great. Like I said, it felt supernatural. It felt like we all had just left school and then linked up together and enjoyed a lunch together. It was supernatural, super fun. We had a lot of background, so it was kind of confusing in knowing like who was background and who were just people in the mall, because it was still very much an active mall. But they made it easy for us. They were very welcoming out there.
The dialogue is so memorable and amusing, like about the DMs of feet, Snapchat, how people are wired, and it feels so kind of true to life. It's been kind of mentioned by some like other cast members and so on that Bo Burnham can seem to get into the mind of teenage girls unlike anyone else. What was it about his writing that sort of appealed to you, and that I looked at that and thought, oh, yeah, that's something that I could imagine be quite a relatable and realistic conversation that people your age would be having?
Yeah, I feel like in terms of the writing, it was very honest. Although the perspective may have been a little different, being that the lead is about a 14-year-old girl in 8th grade, it definitely was still very honest. So we were very able to play it very honest. It didn't feel acty. It didn't feel super written. It felt like we were literally hearing the life of someone that we've all kind of been at a point. You know, we all know that awkwardness of trying to learn yourself and trying to, you know, navigate through learning yourself while also trying to fit in with this new crowd and being in new schools and preparing yourself for being in an even bigger school with an even different crowd, you know. So I feel like it just was very honest, and we all could relate in a sense.
You get one of the best lines of the film when you spot Kayla's dad kind of spying on you all in the food court. Did you have a feeling taking part in that scene it would prove to be such an amusing kind of scene with audiences?
Oh, for sure. I knew a lot of scenes in this film would crack a lot of people up. It's a very, very funny film, very entertaining. But again, I feel like it was all because it was so honest, you know, and it felt so authentic because it was written super authentic. And I feel like every line was written to match our characters so well. So yeah, I definitely knew it would resonate and it would get a laugh out of people.
When did you sort of see the film completed? What was that kind of experience like?
Oh, it was great. I feel like I saw the script come to life and become even better than what I could have imagined. I feel like everything played so well, and I feel like we kind of went on this emotional roller coaster with Kayla, you know, and even down to the music that was added to it. I feel like the timing of everything was unmatched. Like I feel like we all really went through the motions with Kayla and helped learned her while she learned herself, you know.
What was the sort of the impact like on yourself? That did you expect the film to explode in such a big way?
I feel like as a aspiring actress, you just hope that every project that you're a part of, you know, hits the ground running. You know, I think that's everybody's biggest hope. But I feel like I definitely saw the potential in it from when I first auditioned. I knew it'd be great, but I could have never, you know, gave a measurement as to how big of a project it became, but I knew it always had potential.
What were the sort of reactions from friends, family to your role and your appearance in the film?
Oh, it was so funny. So I had already graduated, so a lot of my teachers would still had my school email and be like, "Oh my God, I'm watching 8th grade. I just saw you. That's so crazy. That's so crazy." But I had already been on the Get Down when I was in high school, so I guess for them to see me go further than where I left off was definitely a big deal. My friends and family, of course, were super supportive, super excited for me, and they all enjoyed the film. Whether I was in it or not, they all very much enjoyed the film.
What's it like to have been part of sort of an A24 film, to have something like that in your filmography so early on?
It feels great. I feel like it definitely forced my hand to go look into the other projects that are tied to A24 and just, I guess, really relish in how blessed I am to have been a part of something that's tied to such a great organization, you know?
When did you sort of first hear about 8th grade?
It actually started out as an audition for my brother, and then on the day he was supposed to go, I got an audition for it, and they decided to just push it back so we would go in together. And we both eventually got callbacks for it, so that was kind of cool. And it was like a next day callback thing too. Yeah, we were on the it was right after we were on the train home, and we just got we got an email or a callback for it. So after the day after, I think that was the day when Bo arrived or was there for the callback. And right before I got in the audition, we were sort of making a little bit of eye contact and stuff like that. And it was smiled and I smiled and stuff like that. And yeah, I thought he was a chill guy. I didn't know who he was at all. And that's also another thing. It does sort of help me out with my nerves and stuff like that. If I don't know who a person was, because I didn't know who Bo was at all. Again,
was it always the role of Gabe that you were going for in this film, or was it sort of a general audition at the start?
It was always for Gabe. It was always for Gabe.
And what was that audition process like? Did you sort of work together with sort of Elsie and sort of kind of, trying to get that sort of relationship in the sort of audition process? What were they sort of looking for in the audition process for Gabe?
I think they were just looking for like a grounded and realistic version of a 13-year-old boy or a pubescent boy, like a quirky kid, as some people might call it. Yeah.
With
Go on.
With your character, we see that there's the swimming, there's the magic. Were they looking for someone like yourself, Jake, that maybe is that sort of jack of all trade? Maybe you kind of touched on that confidence that would be able to have do many different kind of things in this film that could potentially be quite impressive.
A few years afterwards, my confidence sort of disappeared a little bit, and I've gotten a little bit more nervous as time progressed. However, I feel like they were looking for like a grounded and realistic version of a quirky kid, and it was mostly someone who was used to trying out new things like magic and swim.
When you were sort of working with kind of potentially Bo Burnham, what did he tell you sort of in the audition process or in the early stages that he was kind of wanting from you for sort of Gabe, and what was his sort of interpretation of the character?
In the work session, well, after the callback, he invited me to go for like a work session, and when I went to through the front door, they decided to like film me walking and stuff like. I think the DP was there, and he was like filming me with walking, just trying to get like dry cuts and stuff like that, just to see how they would be able to shoot the film. And during the work session, he asked me to run in place just to get like the blood flowing and everything like that, just to get like a realistic representation of coming out of the water. And the most important thing he always told me was to just stay grounded and realistic as possible. How you as like a teenager would be able to play this.
Did you and Elsie Fisher kind of do much sort of work together to sort of build up that relationship that we see so well on screen? You play so well off each other in the film. Did you have to do much work kind of behind the scenes to get that there?
No, actually, it was we just had the one chemistry read, which is a week after the work session, and we introduced ourselves. We were both kind of shy at first. And then he decided to we went in the room. He turned on the camera to like record us, and he asked us to do like a little improv session of just like greetings and a conversation and stuff like that. And I noticed she had a taco shirt on, like a shirt of a taco stand and a cat or something like that. And I asked her, "Oh, you like tacos, huh?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, I do." So I go, hard shell or soft shell, and everyone just laughed or something like that. Like immediately after, it's like Bo's like, you got it, man, you got the part. And I was like so exhilarating. It was so I don't know. It was just like after the callback, I did like my own little research on who he was, because I watched like both of his specials on Netflix, and I had no idea who he was beforehand, and after researching, I just like everything just started to come at once, because it was just like the intimidation. But as a person, he's such like a chill and funny guy. It's hard to fit, like it sort of cancels out almost.
Your character makes their big splash in the film at this like fantastic famous party scene. What was that like to be part of that? And there's so much going on, and then you come along. What was your kind of first day on set like, kind of shooting this scene, and what was your kind of memories of shooting the party scene?
The party scene. Well, after the work session, Bo asked me and Elsie not to communicate with each other at all, just like preserve the awkward chemistry that we had, the sort of awkward chemistry that we had. So we decided that we would just sort of talk a little bit more on set, and I was only there for the last 5 days, which was the party scene and Gabe's house. So for the pool scene, Bo asked me how long I actually could hold my breath, and we had like a sort of contest of sorts, and he won. He did win. So that was funny. We went out for, I think they had like an ice cream truck or something there too, so that was nice. I was hanging out with Elsie, Catherine, Aiden, maybe Bo, maybe the producer Chris as well. He was nice.
That's amazing.
Um,
I never realized that you'd only been there sort of for the last 5 days. What was it like to come in so late to the film?
Honestly, it was such like a nice environment, and it was such like a nice and loving and warm environment. Like everyone was so nice. It was welcoming and such and stuff like that. It was. I was just taken aback at first, but then I embraced it. It was such. It was such a real. It was a really nice set. I mean, I'm glad I was there. I'm glad they invited me there.
What was Bo Burnham like as a director when it came to kind of like shooting the film? Like, obviously, you've got your experience of him through the audition process, and then you come to realize how kind of this guy, with his Netflix things, his Vines, all these sort of things. What was he then like as a director when you're sort of fully aware of who he was?
It's difficult to describe because on one hand, he does let us keep it very loose, but also very tight. So he lets us improv some sort of, like on the first few takes, he lets us improv whatever we want, and just to like loosen it up a little bit more. And then we did, like the last few takes, we decide to sort of like stick to script.
How much of yourself, Jake, can you kind of bring to the role in terms of your experiences as a teenage boy with Gabe?
See, Gabe is a lot like myself in the sense where he tries to be he tries to be like he tries to be nice to everyone. He tries to make everyone laugh, make everyone feel comfortable. So essentially, I was just playing it very close to home, playing it how I, as a teenager, would act, essentially. I mean, again, Gabe was a lot like myself. Well, I feel like still is a lot like myself. Well, was when I was 13 or 14. But I guess in the sense, I kept it very close to home, and that's exactly I don't know. Gabe is like an extension of myself almost, because in every role I try to put myself into the character, and for Gabe it was essentially just like a perfect fit for me.
I always wondered about that, how big the line was between sort of you and the character of Gabe, but it sounds like it was a hand in a glove style role.
Essentially, yeah. There were just like a few minor differences, but he got it to like a T for me.
One thing I loved is the dinner date scene with the McDonald's, which I've done that before. That was another moment of like, oh my god, I feel seen in this moment here. If you're someone like me who loves watching Blu-ray special features, there's quite a few deleted scenes where there are sort of alternate takes of the dinner date scenes. Was there always going to be sort of this Rick and Morty scene that we kind of saw in the end, or was it a case of, as you were kind of saying, there was a couple of different options to try first and seeing which one worked best?
Well, during the chemistry read for me and Elsie, we were talking about. I did like a little bit of a Rick and Morty impression, and I guess Bo kind of liked that because right before we decided to shoot the dinner scene, he whispered in my ear, "Hey, so is it okay if you try out your little like Rick and Morty? Is it okay if you do like a little Rick and Morty impression? If that's like okay with you?" I was like, "Oh my god!" Like on the inside, I was like, I was internally screaming, "Oh my god, yes, yes, yes!" It's like, "Oh yeah, sure, sure, absolutely," because it was supposed to be like a surprise for Elsie as well, just to see how she would react. And what I'm trying to say is, no, it wasn't always supposed to be like in the script.
Is it one of those ones? Do you take pride in the fact that your passion, your improvisation, your impressions has ended up sort of being the take that people have gone with? And I think for many people that is one of the highlights of that film. There's such kind of a warmth and smile people get when they watch that. I mean, I'm someone, I never got into Rick and Morty, but I knew about the sauce thing from the news when it exploded about people fighting in McDonald's over that sauce. And I was like, I get that reference. How does it feel to have made such a kind of cultural impact with that scene?
I don't know. It was very overwhelming at the time because I had so much fun just playing with Elsie, just playing in that scene with Elsie because she did great and that she did so well in the movie and she did so well in that scene. I don't know, she's a great actress. For the Rick and Morty thing, I did end up meeting Justin Roiland a little while ago, and that was like a culture shock moment for me as well. So, the creator of Rick and it was such like a culture shock moment for me as well, because I don't know, I get like shy whenever or not shy, like I guess shy is a right word, and I get intimidated when I know who people are, when people have like a good reputation and stuff like that. And as for the scene and how it affects everyone and how it affected everyone, I take a lot of pride in the fact that people think I did a good job. Although my performance does make me cringe a little bit, like that scene specifically, because again, it hits very close to home, and that is how a lot of people would react. That is how a lot of us started out, like going, just like hanging out with people.
When was the moment that you realised that this scene was resonating with people? And do you often find people that will come up to you and go, "Oh, can you do that Rick and Morty impression that you do so well?" Was there a moment that you clicked that, "Oh wow, like this is, it's not just a scene that I've been in; it's a scene that people seem to like and really enjoy"?
When they first invited me to go to like the screeners, to like not the screeners, a screening of the movie, I had no idea what it would be. My expectations, I don't know. I didn't really have any expectations a little bit. I had no idea that it would take off as well as it did, because I was only there for like the last 5 days and everything. I mean, I knew who Bo was, but I had no idea that 8th grade would take off so well, and I'm just very fortunate to have been a part of that. As for just like it resonating with when they invited me for the screening, I thought it did such a good job at portraying like young people. They're just like the pubescent era in like this generation, I feel. Absolutely. So when people reacted to me, it made me feel a little nervous and overwhelmed a little bit, but I mean at first, because I don't know, it's just very it was just like a lot of positive reception all at once, and I didn't know how to handle it at first. However, now looking back on it, when people go up to me, they say stuff like, "You did such a good oh my god, I loved 8th grade. You did such a great job." It still makes me feel like a little uneasy sometimes. Not uneasy, just nervous sometimes, just to be put on a pedestal like that almost. I mean, I think people did ask me to do like the Rick and Morty impression in a Q&A this one time when we were doing the press tour for 8th grade, so that was funny. The press tour was so fun though, with just meeting up with all the cast.
Have you kind of developed a bond that sort of like kind of carried on beyond the film from sort of the press tour? I suppose you probably spent more time with these people publicizing the film and promoting it than you probably did on those 5 days on set.
Oh, absolutely. I actually reconnected with an old acting coach of mine, because I did take a lot of acting lessons when I was younger. And the guy who played what was his name? The guy who played Trevor, Fred. He was the assistant teacher for one of the acting classes I was in, and he's such a nice guy as well. Pretty much everyone in the cast just had like their own vibe to them, and it was just so nice. They were just so cool.
A scene that didn't make the final cut, sadly, is you performing this magic trick for Kayla. I find it cracks me up. I'm sure if people don't have it on Blu-ray or digital, I'm sure it'll be on something like YouTube or something. With this kind of magic trick, did you have to sort of learn these magic skills, or did you already have them in sort of your back pocket? Are you a bit of a kind of magician at heart, Jake?
I wish it was the latter. However, here's what happened. After the chemistry read, Bo and his friends said that he would that they wanted me to do like the magic scene was always going to be a part of the script, so they were going to send me like a magical kit, like a magic kit of sorts. And magic was actually a passing interest of Bo's, so I think that's what inspired him to added to Gabe's character. So they gave me 1 month to prepare. After they sent it to me, they had like the magic rings, the rabbits, the balls, and stuff like that. So I think it was like the last day of shooting. We decided to do the magic. We were doing the magic scene, or like one of the last days of shooting. It was the second to last day. So once we got there, I showed them what I got. I showed them what I had, and they said, "Oh, this is fine. How about we try something else?" So they gave me like, so the prop master took me aside and showed me like 11 or 12 brand new tricks that I had to that I had to cram, well, that I had to make like a show out of sorts. So what you see is what you get, because there was no prep time for those tricks that you've seen, except for the rings, if they showed that.
Yeah. When you kind of look back on your 8th grade experience, what were some of the highlights and special kind of memories you have from those 5 days? It must have been a whirlwind for you.
Everyone was just so nice. Elsie was just being Elsie. She was being great. Bo was like a very good director. Bo was like being a very chilled. He was being a. I did have this one thing with Catherine where I'd ask like, "Do you like jazz or something like that?" Because they were like, it was in the middle of summer and the bees were still like blue. We're still like going for the flowers and stuff like that, and we were just chilling out, talking in between takes. And me and Elsie had like this little umbrella battle that we did, just sort of like a sword fight thing. So that was cool.
See,
in the house.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was gonna say you never know. Someone might have caught that, and it could be in the next Star Wars movie. They might have seen your sword fighting techniques. That could be your next big role.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just practicing for my fencing now.
When did you sort of see the finished film for the first time, and what was that experience like going into to watch it for the first time, and then what was your reaction when you saw how well it played?
Gosh, it had to have been at like maybe April or something like that. Again, they invited me for a screening in April, and then I thought the film was incredible. I loved being a part of it, but just my performance as a whole still to this day still makes me cringe a little bit. I don't know, it's just very difficult to watch myself on screen usually.